ABC political reporter Chris O'Brien has been poring over the budget papers today. He's at Parliament House with the Shadow Treasurer Tim Nicholls.
Mr Nicholls, thanks for your time tonight. Tell me two things that you like about this budget. What are two measures today that you would applaud?
Well, Chris, thanks for having me on. I have to think that is something that the people of Queensland have to make a decision about, whether there is anything in this somewhat embarrassing budget that they would like or would support. I mean, I think that most people would say that the removal of Labor's ambulance levy is something that they would support. It's certainly something that in the past we have campaigned against quite vigorously. It is a regressive tax, which we've said, and the Treasurer has finally admitted that today. So we welcome the removal of that impost on people. That is one good thing that's come out of the budget. But I think concerningly, what we're seeing in this budget today is that nothing is being done to address the real cost of living that is impacting on Queenslanders, and that's a great disappointment from this budget today.
Campbell Newman says that Mal Meninga doesn't reveal his game plan before the game, but this is the last budget before the election, so it's getting down to brass tacks now. What specifically would you have done differently today?
Well, Chris, I think we're not going to be answering Andrew Fraser's request to reveal our policy. I mean, Andrew Fraser didn't tell the people of Queensland that he was going to sell assets, nor did he tell them that he was going to remove the fuel subsidy levy before he went to the last election. And certainly what we're doing is we're working hard on putting policies together. Jeff Senior is out at the moment doing a 90-day infrastructure plan regional study, and he's putting together a list of things. We have announced a 4-point plan to reduce the cost of water by $80, and we've also announced a freeze on car registrations for the first term of an LNP Newman-led government. So we have made those announcements. We are putting our policy together, and we'll be making those announcements as we get closer to the election. And that is how a proper opposition goes about putting its policies together.
Ratings agency Standard & Poor's today has said that the budget won't be back to a AAA credit rating, but due to external factors, and it praises the financial management of this government. That's a good rap, isn't it?
Well, Chris, I think what is disturbing is that there is no plan to get the AAA credit rating back, whether it's from Standard & Poor's or anyone else. What we are seeing here is a continuation of the growth in the debt and the deficit. People will remember that 2 years ago, this government embarked on an unvoted on asset sales program, and at that time the debt was heading towards $84 billion. 2 years later, the assets have been sold and we're still heading towards $85 billion. So I think that the people of Queensland will be able to judge this government on its record.
Andrew Fraser says that's manageable. It's less than 10% of revenue.
I think the people of Queensland would question whether that is manageable when things like car registration has gone up by 30% over the last 4 years, when they see electricity prices, despite what the government is trying to do, still going up by $120. So there is an increasing cost burden that Queensland taxpayers are paying. It doesn't much matter what Standard & Poor's say. The people of Queensland know they're paying more.
And you're talking about figures here that you don't even trust. You've been bagging all week the accuracy of these figures. Are you saying that this is incompetence by Treasury officials or worse?
Well, what I'm saying, Chris, is that no prediction made by this government since it was elected has come true. They were predicting economic growth and it hasn't eventuated.
That trusted Treasury officials put together.
I think that what people need to be able to do, Queenslanders need to be able to do, is judge this government on what they say they're going to do and then judge them on their achievements. And they have been predicting economic growth of certain rates and certain percentages. The last time they predicted economic growth of 5% was over 4 years ago, and they failed to get to that number. In this budget, also, for example, they haven't included the costs of Julia Gillard's carbon tax, a carbon tax that Anna Bligh and Andrew Fraser support.
Your chance will come on Thursday, though. Usually the opposition leader, Jeff Senior, would be delivering this speech. You're delivering the budget reply speech on Thursday. Is that because of the unusual leadership structure that the LNP has at the moment?
Well, I think who delivers the speech is perhaps not quite as important as what we do say about what our economic vision for the future will be.
Will you be specific on Thursday?
We'll be outlining what our economic vision for the future of Queensland is going to be.
Mr Nicholls, thanks for your time on 7:30 Queensland.
That's a pleasure, Chris.